Before we even talk about kidney diseases and diagnosis and treatment, how do I take care of my kidney?
The importance of the kidney, as I've told you earlier, the kidneys are important for survival. They are vital organs. They're some of the vital organs. Your body cannot survive without the body. And in a nutshell, if you remember, the biological science is that there are multiple processes, biological processes that take place in the body, various metabolic processes in the body. Now, they produce toxic waste. This toxic waste must be handled by another organ, and that organ that essentially happens at the kidney. Now, proper care of our kidneys, we would recommend that maintain good hydration, good fluid balance in the body. I remember already, as I started mentioned and said, 70% of the human body, can you imagine? 70% of your body with all the organs is actually composed of water. So maintain that 70% water balance. And how do you do that? We recommend that you take a lot of fluids, specifically water. Take not less than 6 glasses. People say you can take about 6 glasses of water in a day. But we are actually saying if you are possible to get an instant, you take between 3 to 6 liters of water in 24 hours. That is one way of taking care of our kidneys. Good nutritional status. We need to have good nutritional status of our body. Avoid excessive intake, for example, of red meats. Red meats actually contain a lot of what is called nitrogenous compounds, and they are the ones which are broken down to produce toxic wastes, which now are handled by the kidney. So we would recommend that. I'll advise people not to take a lot of red meat, and currently we actually recommend that a meal of meat should be fortnightly. That's every 2 weeks you may have a meat of meat, but and we recommend not a lot of the red meat. For instance, we recommend to individuals take a lot of natural foods like vegetables. Vegetables are very useful for the body. A lot of fruits, and carbohydrates. The carbohydrates can be avoid the refined carbohydrates like sugars and so forth, but you can take carbohydrates like in yams and in potatoes, in maize, for example. That's like boiled maize, and generally is also recommended to take a meal of less fats, and then of course maintain a good body weight. Avoid excessive weight gain. And currently we have devised a method that every individual, doesn't matter who you are, we are able to calculate for every individual what is regarded as the body mass index. That body mass index, basically you just need to know every normal healthy individual should have a body mass index of 19.4 to 24.9. That is the body mass index. You can go over that and you start getting overweight, and then obesity, and various others. So maintain a good body weight for that individual. So to avoid overweight, of course, we encourage people to do exercises, avoid excessive alcohol intake, and I've already alluded to avoid nyama choma, a lot of red meats. And we also recommend that avoid cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking, excessive alcohol intake, actually will one way of leading to unhealthy kidneys.
Thank you so much, Daktari. And now we come to a very important part of our discussion about kidney diseases. Do we only have one kidney disease? Like most people know it as, call it kidney failure. Is that the only disease that we have that affect the kidneys?
Now, let me first start by trying to educate the public. How do patients with kidney diseases present? What are some of those indicators when you see they may point to a gentleman having a kidney disease? Some of them may present with swelling of the legs and swelling of the face, especially in the morning. When you are an individual, especially in children, you wake up in the morning and you find you have a swollen face. Those are some of the indicators that indeed you could be having a kidney problem. Some of the other indicators is someone develops intolerance for food. Somebody becomes nauseated. He may be hungry, but he's nauseated. He will not like to take food. And as I've already tried to explain, when you have accumulation of toxic waste in the body like urea, it will not enable an individual to have a good appetite. So you may have a poor appetite, you are nauseated, vomiting, and some of the times then you may actually notice individually that you have had reduced urinary output. When you notice you have reduced urinary passage of water or passing of urine, that is then an indicator that you have a kidney disease. Now let me classify kidney diseases into two main forms, which I want the public to be aware about. We have what I would describe as short-term kidney failure. Short-term kidney failure. Or this short-term kidney failure, which in medical terminologies we call it acute kidney injury. Acute kidney injury. But for the layman's language, I want just to name it short-term kidney failure. Why do we call it short-term kidney failure? Because it occurs within a short duration of time. It can be within a duration of a matter of hours to up to a maximum of about 6 weeks. The kidney are not working well, as I've already indicated. The indicators are swelling of the body, poor appetite. Then in that instance, you have what is called acute term kidney failure. Now, let us also then now look at the short-term kidney failure. I would look at what are the short-term kidney failure. Why I call it short-term? Because, but for one instance, the recovery, total recovery, is in 70% of the cases is possible. We call it short-term. The kidneys have just gone to a short malfunction or to sleep. So when it's treated fairly well, they can recover. And so we call that short-term kidney failure. The other is long-term kidney failure. If you will allow me, then I will discuss long-term kidney failure. What we call them long-term kidney failure, it is a kidney problem that has been occurring over a prolonged periods of time. After 6 weeks, 2 weeks now, other more weeks added, 2 months, and even go up to now years. Now you develop what is called chronic kidney failure. We call it chronic kidney injury. In that instance, the recovery is never going to complete. It's going to be a progressive disease which will go on to an end stage when we call total kidney failure. Yeah, if you would want me to go and explain to you what are the processes of this short term and long term?
Yeah, sure. You can explain to us.
Yes, thank you. Now, short-term kidney failure. Now, what are the causes of short-term kidney failure, or what is called acute kidney injury, which I've already alluded to? Sudden loss of body fluids from any cause. If you have sudden loss, remember I discussed to you about 70% of the body is water. If you have sudden rapid loss of that body fluids from any cause, you may then develop what is called acute kidney failure or acute kidney injury. For example, profuse diarrhea from any cause, say in cholera, or any other cause of severe profuse diarrhea, so that you reduce your 70% of body composition of water to less than 50%, you predispose the patient to develop acute kidney injury. Excessive evaporation of fluids from the body. The skin protects the body from excessive loss of body fluids to maintain that 70% which I had already described. So for example, if you get burns from whatever cause, is it gas burns, is it fire burns, over 60% of the body, if you have over 60% of the body burned, you denude or you remove the body surface protector of body loss, that is skin, then you may have excessive body loss of fluid. Any loss, any cause of excessive blood loss, any loss of excessive blood loss from any reason can contribute to what we call acute kidney injury. Accident victims, for example, who get multiple injuries in road traffic accidents, you lose a lot of blood from whatever cause, from whatever vessel, you can get excessive loss. Bullet wounds, Bullet wounds, when people are injured, are shot, and major vessels are injured, you lose a lot of blood. That is enough to cause kidney failure. That is also called suicidal cutting with a sharp object. If you have suicidal cutting of a sharp object with a major vessel, people currently have been known to cut the wrist. If you just take a sharp knife and you cut your wrist and you allow blood to shoot out, you are going to develop kidney failure. Excessive loss of blood and in termination of pregnancies. You know, you must have heard of termination of pregnancies by youngsters who are not ready to carry a baby to term. Now, when they go and procure this termination of pregnancies in the streets, for example, they are not in a position to prevent blood loss from the birth canal. You'll be able to lose excessive blood and you'll be able to predispose kidney failure. You can also have excessive loss of blood during delivery. If a mother is delivering at home or is not able to be attended to adequately by a midwife, they lose a lot of blood, and that can predispose to acute kidney failure. And also after delivery, and if the patient is not looked after well, what is called after delivery loss of blood, then the mother can develop acute kidney failure. And the last of many other causes, of course, infections. If you have infections from other causes, spread infections, bacterial infections in the body, in the blood, can predispose into kidney failure. But there is one cause of kidney failure which I must mention. In the public, in the community, if you see a child with a skin rash, if you see a child with scabies and is not being attended to, please don't disregard that skin rash or scabies in that small child. That can predispose into kidney failure. It can predispose to swellings of the kidneys, and that can predispose indeed into kidney failure.